Blog Talk Radio.
This is not an ad, it's an invitation. Join Minister Rosalind.
Rosalind Solomon debuts 4 apps of soulful gospel jazz. Unescapable, Live for You, God of Mount Zion and Messiah Daughter will just take you on a soulful praising worship of the Most High God that you will never want to come down from. Get these soulful, rich gospel jazz music today on Spotify and where music is sold.
Good evening and welcome to the Prophetic Mantle radio show, and this is your host, Apostle Rosalind Solomon, and today's date is August 20th, and today's show is about marriage. It's about helping the marriage out today. Okay, so we're going to start off with some scriptures today. I praise God that I'm able to do this show today, and God bless everyone who's listening in the archives or either on the telephone, in Yeshua Jesus' name. All right, so we're going to start with some scriptures. Hebrews 13:4. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed is undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers God will judge. Hebrews, and I'm going to read, I think that was the only one that I took, unfortunately. Okay, now Satan has sent out a host of spirits to destroy marriages. There's also a wicked, high-ranking archdemon called Apollyon that is over destroying marriages and divorce and preventing marriages and breaking up engagements. Now, Lucifer, Satan, he has caused marriages to be considered in our society a passing thing. People have trial marriages, which are not really marriages at all. It's nothing more than just shacking up together, basically living in sin. So now, to say to some Christians that man or woman you are lying with, let me say it again. To say to some Christians that man or women you are lying with without ever marrying them, it's not your husband or wife, would make them angry, and they would use popular sayings like, you are trying to put me under condemnation, but if the sin we live in doesn't convict the person, then it's about time somebody preach the truth and bring you under conviction because you died and you end up having to go in the re-sanctification fire again, and you'll have to come back here again. So living together, you're not married. And see, in our government, they make it easy for you to live together. Because I know where I'm from in New Jersey, they got, I don't know if they still have it. I was told they abolished it about 10 years ago. I'm not sure. But I know some states still do honor it, maybe 13 to 20, where if you live with somebody for 7 years or more, you're considered legally married, which the devil's a liar. How are you legally married? There's still no certificate there. So in man's eyes, you may be legally married, but not in God's eyes. Now, Proverbs 18:22, whoever findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. So the reason Satan wants us living in a relationship outside of God's order is because he knows we come under a curse. By not having God's favor or approval, it gives Satan legal grounds to curse people when they live together, and to attack the man and the woman and any children that they may have. This will be dealt with. We have to deal with this. Now, the spirit of fear of marriage. Many people do not get married because they have a fear of it because of a bad experience in their past. So you find that with a lot of men. Some women, which is a small percentage, but you mostly find that with a lot of men that don't want to get married again because they've been hurt so much, or either they don't even want to get married because they've been so hurt so much in relationships. So the spirit of fear of marriage will bring up everything from the past it can to keep you from getting married. If you had a bad relationship, this spirit will destroy the confidence of marriage working for you. So you will constantly stay in shacking up relationships or fornication of relationships, and when you die, you will not be rushing to the bosom of God. Now, when dealing with people about a sin in their life, there must be compassion to understand why they are doing it. There is a reason for everything a person does, right or wrong. Our job is to bring them out of the prison houses that hold them in sin, if they will allow God. So that's our job as children of God, to bring people out of the prison of sin. Now, the spirit of fear of commitment, men definitely have this more than women. People who are under this bondage will do fine in a relationship as long as you don't bother them with committing themselves to marriage. Once you start hawking on them about marriage, you will see the relationship crumble because they have the spirit of fear of commitment. They have to be delivered from that. And the root cause has to be found out why they have it in the first place, so that root can be taken up and the person can be delivered. Commitment in marriage defines the act of giving oneself in trust to your mate. Loose me, Lord, from the evil here. Say these prayers. Loose me, Lord, from the evil soul ties that have bound many of us in this situation. Father, set me and all who are listening free from the trap of Satan that we have entered into outside of your will. And also say this. Father, I fear having to deal with possibility of losing him or her who you have for me if I confront this issue head on that causes me to lose my soul. Help me, Lord, to either marry or to let go so I can live according to your will and your word. Amen. Now, the soul is affected by fornication and adultery. Proverbs 6:32 tells us, by whom of committeth adultery with a woman lacketh the understanding, he that doeth destroyeth his own soul. So I think God is basically talking to men and women in this one, although he says he. So when you commit adultery or you live in fornication, you destroy your soul. Proverbs 6:33 says, a wound and dishonor shall beget, and his approach shall not be wiped away. So now, spirits of destruction are able to attack the soul and mind, will, and emotion because of the fornication of adultery. They cause many strange modes and actions that don't make sense. Why? Because their judgment is messed up. Those who know living like this is not God's will. It's not his will, and they're going to face a lot of emotional turmoil because you keep getting in these relationships, you're shacking up, you wasted 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years of your life, you wind up breaking up, you're older, and it gets harder and harder for you the older you get. And this is what Satan wants. He wants you to get so old and worn out where nobody's going to want you, or you're not going to want anybody. You know, because Satan will use every spirit he can to condemn you about this. Job, the book of Job, chapter 3, verse 20. For if your heart condemn verse God is great than our hearts and knoweth all things. Spirits will set people up for wounds, big blows, mental hurt, or inflict bodily hurt on them. So if a woman's getting beat up and abused by a guy for years and she finally gets away from him, she's not going to want to have anything to do with a man. She's not going to have anything to do with a man. And if a man keeps getting cheated on constantly by his women, taking advantage of a woman, he's not going to want to be bothered with a woman either because they have mental hurt or or the woman may have an infliction bodily hurt wound, which a demon comes in, a demon of trauma abuse, and it prevents her from wanting to get married. 1 Corinthians 6:18, flee from fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. So when you shacking up, you living together, you fornicating, or you committing adultery, you are going against your own body. You're destroying your own temple. And Corinthians 3:16 says, ye shall be destroyed if ye destroy the temple of God. So if you yourself destroying the temple, you'll be destroyed with it. Because our bodies are the temple of God, Yahweh, Satan wants to put us in a position that we will be cursed by God. So when you commit fornication or you shacking up with somebody or adultery, you fall under a curse. You can read Deuteronomy for that. Genesis 2:24, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Cleave, the definition of cleave, to become closely and firmly knitted, attached by affection, of physical and spiritual adherence. So God tells us when you sleep with a man and you're a woman, or you a man and you sleep with a woman, you are knitted to them. You are closely adhered to them. You are infused in them. You become one. So you create soul ties. So let's say you shacked up with 7 different women in your life, and then you finally get married. Your wife is going to be, if you're a man, or your husband if you're a woman, is going to be marrying all 7 of those fragments of those 7 different souls right along with you. And all the demons that you got from them and that you got yourself for doing such things. This is what your new spouse is going to be marrying if there's no godly counseling, no Christian counseling, no type of, marriage counseling, and especially marriage deliverance. Everybody who is a Christian, an Elohim God child, you should never get married until you have sat down with someone that you know is experienced in marriage, still married, or maybe on their way to get married, or maybe they were married, but they're a widower, and they've had experience or in marriage, or a relationship coach, or a marital coach, or counselor, or mentor that have some knowledge of what marriage entails, and also has knowledge of deliverance and what type of demons and hierarchy spirits you need to be delivered from, and things like that, and go over each other's family tree to find out what curses is rooted in each other's blood, and get delivered from these things. Because if you don't, you both are just marrying each other's curses, each other's infirmities, each other's sin, each other's past lovers, because your soul needs to be cleansed out and delivered from the fragments and the covenants, and the soul ties need to be broken. So these things, if they're not done, when you get married, your marriage doesn't stand a chance. Even if God is over your marriage, you are going to have a hard marriage. It'll be the only knitting of God that will be, it's like your marriage will be hanging on a string. And that'll only be because it's God's string holding you together. And the reason why his string is holding you together, because you're 2 godly children, and you living right to the best of your ability, but your marriage is in shambles because you didn't get none of these things that I just said. Now, Genesis 26:34. And Jesus was 40 years old when he took to his wife Judah, the daughter of Bari, the Hittite, and Basamat, the daughter of Elon, the Hittite. See, Jesus took 2 wives. But I guess back then, Daddy was still allowing people to do that because, the Israelites needed to multiply because they were the smallest tribes out of many tribes. When Yah came back, he was like 1 wife. So the man, 1 wife, that's all you need, right? Really, that's all you ever needed. But 90 seconds for what? Hold on. Oh, my gosh. I didn't schedule my show for a longer time. What is going on? Y'all, this show going to be cutting off. Oh, my goodness. Hold on. Oh, Lord, help me. I thought I scheduled this show for an hour. Yeah, it's about to cut off. I'm sorry. This is crazy. How did I do that? I always schedule my show for Lord have mercy. I'm going to have to do this show again later this week because for some reason I only set it. That's this the devil. It's impossible to set this show for only 5 minutes. It's impossible. You either get an hour or 2 hours. So something must be going on with Blog Talk, y'all, because I'm looking at my show and I scheduled it for an hour and 30 minutes. So something must be going on with Blog Talk. So I'm sorry. So this show is going to end, and I'm going to have to just reschedule it to do it Thursday or Friday. Please forgive me, but you can enjoy the 5 minutes. Shalom.